Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte with Micah Sargent, and this is our Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on Saturday, September 17th, 2022. This is episode 1927. Enjoy. This episode of the Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by ClickUp, the productivity platform that'll save you one day a week on work, guaranteed. Use the code TechGuy to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you could start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. Sign up today at clickup.com, but hurry, this offer ends soon. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, Micah Sargent too. It's Tech Guy time. 8888 Ask Leo is the Tech Guy number as we talk about what, Micah? What do we talk about?
Oh, my goodness. The
Only
internet.
one thing. No.
Oh, the iPhone.
iPhone 14 Pro.
iPhone 14 Pro Max.
Max.
In gold and deep purple.
Mine's in gold and yours in deep purple. We will talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, and smartwatches, but I think people want to know. Mm-hmm. Now, you were smart, or not smart, quicker on the draw Friday, a week ago. You got yours, like, personally carried to you by a uniformed official of the American government.
Yeah, they even had a little glass of champagne for me when they walked up. It was quite nice. No,
I feel bad. It was FedEx or UPS?
It was UPS.
Okay, so it wasn't the federal government. It was a guy in brown shorts, but just as good. I feel bad for the UPS guys on iPhone Day, which was yesterday.
Me too. They're just, stopping every way along. And I had 4 different packages, all that came at the same time. So the guy was
What'd you get?
He was far back and he's like, here.
Don't breathe on me, but here.
So I got a case that didn't come until iPhone Day. I got the iPhone. Yeah. And then I had also purchased, as I had mentioned I would, the replacement tips for the AirPod Pro 2nd gen to see if they would fit on the 1st gen.
And did they?
They fit.
Oh.
They fit.
So your tiny little ears, your shell-like ears, now have a tip that fits in them. Does that make a difference for you?
Well, so I don't use the extra small.
Oh, you don't?
No,
okay.
no. But somebody had asked.
That's what was added, was the extra small.
Exactly,
so.
yeah. Extra small is new. But they were curious if they could just use that with their 1st gen, and it appears so. I had no problems. They stayed where they were supposed to. But then the 4th thing was that goofy little lanyard that Incase made for the new AirPods Pro. Oh.
It doesn't come with a... Oh, you haven't got your AirPods Pro yet.
No, those won't come until next week.
Version 2.
Version, yes, exactly.
Do those... They don't come with a lanyard? You have to buy a lanyard purchased separately.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you can get one for like 15 cents,
Yeah, as opposed to Apple, which probably charges.
Yeah, the Incase one I think was $4.95 or something.
Does Apple sell lanyards? They just put a lanyard hole on it. Oh, that's hysterical. They missed a bet there. Remember
Although they used to for the remote.
Yeah.
The remote used to have a lanyard.
Yeah.
It was expensive though. It was ridiculous.
I have a third-party remote lanyard. I might take off my remote and put on the iPhone or the AirPods. So the new watch and the tank watch, whatever they call it, the get in the tank and 100-meter down watch.
That's
and
the one.
The AirPod 2 will come next week.
Yeah, those don't ship until next week. It's same as the non-Pro iPhone 14 Max. So the larger of the 2 iPhone 14s.
And the Plus is like October, separately. The iPhone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Plus.
It's not even next week.
Not even next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have 2 things to report because we also got iOS 16 on our little. The bump is so big on this it won't actually fit on my charging.
Did you get
stand.
the update, the 0.1 update? Whenever you first started yours?
So that's one thing. Usually when you get a new tech device, the first thing you're going to do is update, right? How'd
you do your transfer?
This was really easy. So some people were a little bit worried about the eSIM, right? There's no more SIM trays in the U.S. And I was transferring from an old iPhone 12 from T-Mobile. And normally what I do is poke it, pluck it
to the side, you go,
stick it. Bop it, and then it'd be good. But so what happened? And it was super easy. Mm-hmm. It said, "Would you like to transfer from your old phone?" That's not new. And I said yes. And then it said, "Oh, you have an account, a T-Mobile account in your old phone. Would you like to transfer it?" And I said yes. it activated the phone, the new phone, almost immediately. Deactivated the SIM. It said, "Throw that SIM away. That's no good no more."
Mm-hmm.
And then I did an iCloud download, and it was painless.
Oh, nice! You did the iCloud download.
So at no point did I. You do have to kind of put the two phones together and authorize it and all that stuff, but it was copying settings and stuff like that, like my wallpaper. All my wallpapers I had made, because the new iPhone 16. And I had to be taught this. Allows you to do new lock screens, but there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to be taught that. But all of the lock screens I had created, and there were quite a few, I had came over, which was nice. This is a kind of a nice one because it changes every time I unlock it. I get a new picture of my wife, which is great. This one's kind of fun because it's the Earth. It shows our little green dot.
Oh, look, there you are.
Where we are on the big blue marble. And so that's nice. That came over. Almost everything came over, including, which I was really pleased, the T-Mobile activation. So I got mine at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Because unlike you, I slept in on Friday. Actually, that's not what happened, but the system failed.
Yeah, it's failed a lot.
Which is weird because I bought two phones, one for my wife immediately, because one always does that, right? Ladies first. And that one's not coming until the 28th, I think.
Oh, wow. What color?
Black 512.
Got it.
This was all that so I searched everywhere, and if I went down to the more distant Apple store, it's not the closest one, the more distant Apple store in Marin County, I could get a gold and 256. So I did.
Nice.
Big line, lots of people.
Really?
It was kind of like the good old days, except that it was a little more orderly. You make an appointment, a 15-minute window. You have a QR code. You show it to the nice person at the Apple store, and they say, "Okay, get in that line." Mm-hmm. So there you go. Now I'm in another line.
So there's two.
And I go in that line,
okay.
And then that line, they slowly, one by one, take you. Total time, 8 minutes.
Nice.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
I timed it.
Did they offer to help you set it up?
They did. They said, "Now that eSIM's new. Would you like us to do it?" And I said, "No, I think I could figure it out." And as it turned out, there was nothing to it.
Yeah. And actually, I was surprised at how simple it was.
Who's your carrier?
My carrier is AT&T.
Okay.
And I thought that there would be a lot of people on launch day doing that. And so I did it the day before, turning my physical SIM into an eSIM. And so I went through the process.
Oh, because your old phone, the iPhone 13, had eSIM capability.
Uh-huh.
So you were able to do it in the phone.
In the phone, yeah.
You didn't need to, as it turns out.
Yeah, it was easy. Apparently, nobody had issues with that. Well, I take that back. Some people, but it was fewer than I was expecting.
I asked Suzanne, my nice Apple lady, is this something I have to do online? She said, you could do it online or you can call them. I don't think she'd experienced it yet.
That's not.
You could do it online or call it. And as it turned out, I didn't need to do anything. The new phone said, "Oh, I see the old phone." So the eSIM, at least in the U.S., if you're coming from a major carrier that supports eSIM,
if you're on an MVNO, that's where I've heard some horror stories from time to time where they had to call into support and then have it all re-registered and blah blah blah. But if you're on one of the major carriers, the process seemed to be very simple.
It's going to be interesting because a lot of people are used to this idea of popping out the SIM and the SIM tray. And there is no SIM tray. And if you do find a little dot on your phone, don't poke it because that's the microphone. Actually, I don't see one. So. There's no, there must be a microphone somewhere. Somewhere.
Oh,
somewhere.
It's just in one of the speaker grills at the bottom.
It's, I'm kind of happy. I have to say, I'll be honest with you. Even coming from the 12, which is a couple of versions ago, I'm not noticing huge differences.
Yeah. It doesn't feel, I'm curious your thoughts on the, always on display because I do
love that, but
you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that you need a new iPhone to do, even if you have iOS 16 and older iPhone, because leaving the display on all the time. So I'll go to my let's go to my lock screen. Oops, I just took a picture. Okay, now I'm on my lock screen. And at some point, this, it takes about 15 seconds. It's going to go to a slightly darker version. It actually works quite well. You can always see the time. And these are, the widgets on your lock screen are somewhat configurable, not as much as Android. By the way, Pixel has had this for at least a couple of years, this always on screen. Mm-hmm. Something you can do in the OLED screen because black pixels take no juice. They just sit there, and these screens now can go down to a very low refresh rate, as low as 1 refresh per second, which means very little battery is used. All it does is update the clock. In fact, you'll notice when it goes dark that some of the features of this live wallpaper even go away. And I think it works pretty well. I kind of like the
I keep looking
always-on
over
display.
and thinking that I've left auto lock off.
You get used to it.
Yeah, I'm hoping I will.
I did notice one thing. I do notice Face ID is much faster. It uses the magic pill. No, I mean the dynamic island to do that, and it's much faster and much more. It seems to be much more accurate. Mm-hmm. So at least there is a speed bump a little bit from the 12 to the 14. But I would reiterate what we said last week, what we suspected last week, which is if you have an iPhone that isn't ancient,
you probably don't.
You don't need to upgrade. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel exactly the same way. I had no overwhelming, excitement or anything like that. I loved getting to, set up all of the new features and check out what was new. I think one aspect that I found really awesome, there was a filmmaker on Twitter who's a YouTuber, and he had posted a photo of the 13 and the 14 side by side doing, I said photo, but I meant video, using that action mode. And action mode is actually quite incredible. Action mode is this
Let me try that. So I'm going to do video and jump up and down. Does it do it automatically, or do I have to push a button?
There is an action mode option.
Okay.
I have not tried action mode myself yet.
Yeah, I see. It's got a little action mode icon. Oh, I'm in it now.
Ooh,
it says more light required. Oh, there we go. More light required. And I think you're too dark for me to do action mode.
He was running along.
So it's for outdoors. That's for sure.
Definitely. Taking video and showed the side-by-side of an iPhone 13 with stabilization turned off entirely, and then an iPhone 14 with action mode turned on. And the difference was incredible. It really does a good job of stabilizing. But yeah, it is.
You can't do
not a low-light
4K
performer.
because that's the way it stabilizes, is it uses some of the pixels.
Absolutely.
To stabilize. More light required. How much more light?
How much do you need?
How much do you need? The other thing I liked,
studio.
the selfie cam now focuses on you, which is cool.
Autofocus.
That's cool, I guess. I mean, what did it do before?
I know. I don't understand how, what was the way? Was it doing autofocus?
I guess if you're doing portrait, you need the
computationally or
autofocus. Yeah, I don't know. It was, I tell you what it was. It was such a narrow aperture.
Oh, that everything
was in focus. I would guess.
That's probably what it was. Yes, I bet you're right.
Now you could do portrait mode and make silly faces, which is what I just did.
I still don't really ever find myself using portrait mode because 9 times out of 10 it fails me.
It does. It cuts your hair off.
Something's weird.
Yeah, or you have no ear.
Yeah.
Your left ear looks great, but your right ear where?
I just like to leave the camera alone, not having all of the other stuff kind of play with it.
So, I mean, it's hard not to fall into the unfortunate trap of the new iPhone. But in all honesty, let's try to be objective about this.
Absolutely.
It's nice to get a new thing, but it's also hideously expensive, over $1,000. It's also wasteful unless you've got a good place to put the old one,
right?
A hand-me-down or trade-in. I think it would be prudent not to upgrade. Mm-hmm. Until you really need to, whether it's because Apple stopped supporting it with iOS. That's, I think, you have to get a 7 or later now to do that, I think. And then, I don't know, what does iOS 16 require? And then, maybe it's broken, or you just really feel like it's a little slow. I have to say, I mean, it's very nice to get the 14. Oh, one other thing, I have an old iPhone 12 case. It fit perfectly. You may not need a new case. The only thing is the camera bump. I mean, the camera hole of the 12 the camera bump is bigger. Mm-hmm. It's a bigger island.
Tis.
So I could fit it in just fine, which is good because that's my wallet and I want to keep my stuff handy.
And the flash is different too.
But the flash is fully exposed by the camera hole this is an iPhone 12 case with an iPhone 14. The only thing missing is this, whatever that is down there.
That's where the LiDAR is.
The LiDAR is a little occluded, and you can see the wide is a little bit cut off. Maybe this. So, yeah, it's a bigger camera bump. But, the case itself is the same size, which is the phone itself is the same dimensions.
Do you have problems pressing the side button? Because the side button is moved in the new phone.
Huh. By the way, that's the always-on mode. You can see it's a very slight difference. You can see. No one else can see. It's the radio. Yeah, no, it seems to all work. But anyway, that would probably depend on which case you have. 88, so there you go. We will speak no more of this.
No. 88 Ultra.
Till the watch next week.
Yeah.
88, ask Leo. Honest, we're not Apple fanboys, honest. Leo and Micah, your tech guys. More calls next.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Kim Schaffer, Phone Angel.
Hi. How
Good to
you
see
doing?
How's your new iPhone?
I don't have one.
No, I know. You're a normal person.
No, I'll get one because I have a very old phone and it's time. And
it's time.
It's giving me a your battery needs servicing.
Oh.
So it's a 10S Max, but I'm not like trying to stand in line or order it. So I'll get it in November or December.
That's fine. Yeah, we checked in the iPhone 16, you need an iPhone 8 or later. So 8 really is the cutoff. If you have a 7 or older, it probably is worth getting a new one. The toast, I like those 10s. I really like the 10S.
I like it,
nice.
but yeah.
But
This is.
I could definitely use
You'll
an
have to touch
upgrade.
me, touch mine because never mind. Stop. I'm still in the 80s. Touch me.
I
You
will
have to
check out your
You have to
phone.
because you might say, "Oh wow, that's too big and heavy."
Yeah, which
Well,
size do you rock? The smaller?
I
of
rock
two,
the
or-
big one, but
all right.
and it's in almost pristine condition physically.
Nice.
But
Oh, those rounded edges.
I love the rounded edges. I don't like the squared off edges. So it's
They call
gonna be
that
a
for some reason
compromise.
curved screens because it's not really curved, but it's kind of it bubbles up over the screen, a little over the edge a little bit. Yeah, you'll have to look at Micah's or mine and see.
I want the deep purple one.
Deep
That
I am
purple's
a
pretty.
purple. I'm a purple girl, and I have a rose gold one here. So
It's
Nice.
very pretty, I have to say. So, I only have a minute left. Should I actually take a call or should we
maybe you should just wait.
Just chat, you
Just
and
chat
I.
a little bit.
have some more chit chat? Scott Wilkinson's coming up. But I feel bad because we've got Pat and Andrew and David from Ypsilanti,
Yeah.
the home of Sam Ebel Samet, all waiting to get on. But we'll get to you in a moment. I apologize.
Stay there.
Don't go away.
Don't go away. Don't hang up. Don't get
go away.
frustrated.
Remain.
Yeah, Apple killed the Mini.
Who wants that?
Well, Jason Snell, our friend from Mac Break Weekly, our Mac podcast, is a Mini fan.
Our continuity team member, Sebastian, also.
Sebastian's a Mini guy.
Yeah.
So I get maybe they have small hands, or maybe they just don't like. If you want a small phone, may I make a recommendation? The Samsung Flip is even smaller because it folds in half. It would fit in your jacket pocket or your watch pocket.
Yeah, but then you have to be on Android.
Honestly, it's not that bad.
For people who don't want to be on it. I mean, who
no,
have
Apple
iPhone.
doesn't make a small phone
And I will
anymore.
say, my pinky has slightly become misshapen from holding these big phones. I'm not even lying to you. My pinky has a weird
Mine already
curve in it.
is.
He's
I was
got
born that way.
A misshapen pinky. Holy cow. That's awful. Leo Laporte, Micah Sargent, your calls later.
I've got the pinky that's always out when I'm drinking.
Yes.
Well, you're a lady. What is hip? I'm talking about Mr. Hip himself, Scott Wilkinson, the horn man. If you ever need a tuba in your horn section, and honestly, I think many horn sections should have a tuba.
They should, absolutely, without question.
You have a bass guitar. Why wouldn't you have a bass horn?
Well,
I
look at the
ask you.
Roots on, is it Jimmy
They have a
Fallon's
tuba,
show?
don't they?
They
on
have a
Fallon.
tuba? Yeah,
his night
absolutely.
show. Oh,
It's
that's
a black
good point.
carbon fiber sousaphone. It's really cool.
Cool.
Wow.
Now I got to look that up.
Black carbon fiber. Wow. Okay. I love the Roots. Questlove. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Questlove. Mm-hmm.
And he plays some strange instruments himself. He does some weird things, but it's a fun group. Anyway, that's not the point of this conversation. You are our home theater guru. His podcast, youtube.com/AVS Forum. He's the podcast host at AVS Forum and joins us every week. You paid a visit to a legendary name in hi-fi, the original
did.
hi-fi company.
One of them, certainly. Harman. You remember Harman Kardon, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
They were really big in the high end audio market. Harman Kardon is still made. It's still a brand, but it's not available in the U.S. anymore. It's mostly in Europe and Asia.
Because they got bought by Samsung, right?
Well, Harman got bought by Samsung. Yes.
Yeah.
And but a few of us journalists got invited to a day-long tour at the Harman campus in Northridge, California, down in Southern California. It was really, really fun.
How fun.
We got all kinds of backstage tour things going on. And we started out, well, we got some presentations of various things. We learned about how they start with science. And I do believe that. One of my first podcast guests was Dr. Sean Olive, who's their chief sound scientist. And he's really, really good. And they always start with, how does it measure? And then they take that and go and listen to it. And Sean Olive, for example, did something really interesting, which was to try and correlate objective measurements with subjective experience. And you'd think, well, sure, you can measure something, and it might measure what you think is good, but then you put it in a room, which is a different environment than an anechoic chamber, and maybe people won't like it. But it turns out there's like an 86% correlation from objective measurements to subjective impressions, subjective evaluations.
Well, it's interesting. I'm reading the Harman story on Wikipedia, and way back in 1959, they promoted having amplifiers that would go beyond the technical range of human hearing. Their 60-watt Harman Kardon Citation 2 had a frequency response of 18 to 60,000 hertz. Normally, the threshold of human hearing is said to be 20,000.
20.
But they said it's because of harmonics and overtones that might sound better, even though if it doesn't measure, it doesn't need to measure beyond 20K. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
We got to tour 3 of their 7 anechoic chambers. Have you ever been in an anechoic chamber?
I have been in one at Dolby, and it's weird. It's like the
weird.
breath is sucked out of you.
Yeah, there's no echo in this room. That's what anechoic means.
Yeah, it's just dead. It's dead.
It's totally dead. You can hear, if you have tinnitus in your ears, you hear that really loud.
Oh, that's not good. I don't need that.
Which isn't good. Yeah. No. But it's a place to measure the performance or how a speaker is doing without regard to the room. And again, this correlation between measuring in an anechoic chamber and listening in a room, I found very interesting. I would have thought there would be much less correlation than there was, but that was pretty interesting. They spend a lot of time using, for tweeters, the high frequencies in their speakers. A lot of their speakers use what are called compression drivers. Normally, a tweeter is just a small little dome or cone, but that, believe it or not, it's only 2 to 5% efficient. Only 2 to 5% of the electrical energy that's coming into that tweeter gets converted into audio. With a compression driver, it's 10 times more efficient. It's 20 to 50% efficient, which I found very, very interesting. They do a lot of CAD modeling of their speaker components, and then they get to 3D print them. And if it doesn't quite work, they can just we'll just tweak this and reprint it. It takes days instead of weeks.
Car manufacturers too. You design it in the computer. You use a 3D printer to manufacture it, see how it works.
Yep. Yeah, see how it works. And exactly. We went from the quietest room in the place to the loudest room in the place, the power test room, where they put in speakers and they drive them till they fail.
Oh my gosh, I don't want to be in that room at all.
Well, they gave us these industrial hearing protection things, look like headphones.
But I bet you could feel it in your chest.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
And it was so. I measured 105 dB in there. Another of the journalists measured 112. Wow. And they just do this for like 100 hours until the thing fails. The thing smelt like burnt voice coils.
And why do they do this?
They want to see where the limit is.
Oh.
Where is the limit of where how much power can this speaker handle? and they want to engineer it to handle more than it's going to get in a consumer environment. So they exercise it to the point of failure just to see where that point is because they really want to know.
Cool.
So it was really cool. That was very cool. They introduced us to the Harman University, which is an online university, a learning center basically, and they've got a bunch of lessons about all sorts of various things. They've now got over 5,000 students globally taking these courses, and so that I'm going to start. They gave us complimentary access to this, so I'm going to be looking at some of that stuff. We looked at Introduction to Compression Drivers while we were there, which is actually very interesting. Compression drivers are pretty darn cool, and they're used in a lot of their products. So we also got to look at a bunch of new products. This was what they called a pre-CEDIA tour, right? Because CEDIA is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay, quick.
Yes.
See if we test you. What does CEDIA stand for?
Consumer Electronics Design and Installation Association.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Send him the medal.
I thought I'd stump him on that one. Wow.
I've been going to that show for 25 years.
That's nice.
So
Dr. Harman's kind of an amazing character if you follow his story. So he started Harman Kardon with his pal Bernard Kardon, in 1953. Bernard dropped out a few years later. But the Harman Company really established high fidelity, by making the first high fidelity receivers, the tuners plus amplifiers in one.
Plus amplifier, right. Before that, as you said, everything was separate.
Yeah.
You had a separate box that was a tuner, and a separate box that was an amplifier, and a separate box that was a preamplifier.
I didn't realize this. In '69, they bought JBL, which is at the time, those were the speakers, rock and roll speakers.
Yeah.
Every radio station I worked in had JBL Century speakers. They were wonderful.
Yeah. All recording studios and all theaters, commercial cinemas as well. They
made the first stereophonic cassette recording deck with Dolby B. And then in '76, he was appointed Deputy Secretary of Commerce under Jimmy Carter, had to sell Harman Kardon. He sold it to Beatrice Foods.
Oh, what?
Yes.
That I didn't know.
But then, so for $100 million, and then 4 years later, he bought it back from Beatrice for $55 million. He eventually sold in 2017 to Samsung, but he purchased Newsweek for $1. Merged it with the Daily Beast, and he was the chairman of Newsweek until his death in 92.
Very interesting guy, man.
Fascinating. Leo Laporte, Micah Sargent, Scott Wilkinson, thanks. What a story. This guy was amazing. Dr. Harman.
Yep. And his wife, Jane Harman, ran for some big public office, was governor of California.
Oh, interesting.
Or senator, something like that. I don't remember exactly. You could look it up. It'd be easy to
It's a familiar name, actually, when you say that.
Yeah. I think it's Jane Harman.
Wow. Very interesting.
One thing I didn't get to mention is the end of the tour, we listened to their flagship system. They built a theater in the facility, and they put their very best JBL Synthesis audio system in there, which is about $250,000 worth of equipment.
Oh my God.
The system is a 13-channel around by 4 subwoofers by 13 overhead speakers.
Wow.
All
JBLs,
amazing.
huh?
All JBL Synthesis.
Yeah.
That's their super ultra high-end, mostly in-wall and in-ceiling speakers. They're what are called architectural speakers. So they're designed to be built into the wall.
Wow.
And oh man, that was pretty awesome.
Very cool. That's fun. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was really fun.
You have 2 minutes and 41 seconds. If you'd like to fill it, can you stick around for the top of the hour?
I would be happy to do that.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
My pleasure indeed.
That's great.
That's great.
I I also didn't get to mention the SSW1 subwoofer that they showed us. This pretty new subwoofer, dual 15-inch drivers. They recommend 5,000 watts of amplification.
Wow.
It weighs 350 pounds.
5,000 watts. Does that mean you have to have a special thing to power it in your?
Well, you need a 5,000 watt
supercharger.
amplifier. Yeah, right. It's a passive subwoofer too, so it doesn't come with its own amplifier built in like most subwoofers do. This one you have to pair it with a 5,000 watt amplifier, which doesn't have to cover the full frequency range. Of course, it only has to cover below 20 hertz up to 80 hertz or 100 hertz or something like that.
Mike Heiss is jealous. You went to dinner afterwards?
Oh, man. What a great dinner. Mike, you really missed it, man. I'm sorry you had to miss it because it was really good. It's a place called Verge in North Hollywood, Toluca Lake, really. And dig this. This was so interesting. Each table has microphones above it and a little speaker, and it noise cancels. It actively cancels the noise out of the rest of the restaurant.
Wow.
Really cool. And it worked. We could actually talk at our table without shouting.
Like that. Wow.
Yeah. Active noise canceling in the restaurant.
That's unique.
Yeah. I'd never seen that before.
Most restaurants are designed to be loud because people feel like this must be the place to be.
This is the happening place.
All the restaurants in San Francisco, you can't hear anybody. They're just so loud. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you today by ClickUp. Love these guys. This is a productivity app done right because you know what? It was developed by people who developed something they needed, right? That's the best way to do it. Imagine getting an extra day every week. Like, oh yeah, I'm not going to work 5 days this week. I'm only going to work 4. That's what ClickUp gives you. More time to enjoy life. Go on a bike ride, enjoy some healthy meals, write your great American novel. ClickUp is the productivity platform that'll save you a day a week on work, and that's guaranteed. The whole idea, they began with the premise that productivity was broken, right? I think if you're not using ClickUp, you know what they mean. You've got all these different tools, all this information in all different places, completely different siloed ecosystems. You've got to go from here to there to there to there to there to here. It's crazy. There's got to be a better way to get through the daily hustle. ClickUp, one tool, houses everything you use, and it works with all the tools you're already using. You don't have to start new tools or anything. Your messaging and your Zooming and all that stuff. All your tasks, your projects, your docs, your goals, your spreadsheets, and more in one place. It's built for teams as small as you, one person, to a major, 1,000+ corporation. And it's packed with features and customization options that no other productivity tool has. So you can work the way you work best. You really can get it just the way you like it. But don't worry, out of the box, it comes ready to go no matter what your business is, project management or engineering or sales or marketing or HR and on and on and on. It's got presets. You're good to go. And then as you use it, this is how I work. Use the preset. And then as you use it, go, well, I'd like this to, and you can just tweak it slightly. It's awesome. ClickUp, easy to use solutions that create a more efficient work environment. So efficient, you'll save a day a week. Join 800,000 highly productive teams using ClickUp today. That's 800,000 days a week. That's, what is that, 4.2 million days a month? No, 3.2 million days a month. That is 36.8 million days a year. I don't know. My math's terrible. Use the code TechGuy. You'll get this math, I know. 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan, not just for the first month, but for the whole year. You can start reclaiming your time for under $5 a month. That's a good deal. Sign up today. ClickUp.com. ClickUp.com. And if you would do me a favor, use the offer code TechGuy for that 15% off deal. So you get the 15% off, but we get the credit, which is good for us. But don't delay. This offer will not continue much longer. So ClickUp.com, offer code TechGuy. Thank you, ClickUp. I wish I could use ClickUp to only work 3 days a week. I work 4 now. I only work 3 days a week. That would be awesome. They haven't figured out a way to do the radio show yet. clickup.com, offer code TechGuy. Now back to the program. There's some horns. No tuba. Little blood, sweat, and tears. They had a great horn section. Or is it Chicago? I don't. Sorry. They both had horn sections. Did Chicago have a tuba? No, I don't hear it. Leo, does anybody know what time it is? I don't know. I'm sorry. I always get fooled by that beginning. It sounds like the blood, sweat, and tears. What goes up must come down. Yeah. Maybe you could play that next time, Professor, and we will then be able to compare and contrast in our anechoic chamber of my mind. 8888 ask Leo, you know what we haven't done, Micah?
Take a call?
Yeah.
Talk to a tuba player?
Let's start talking to somebody. Pat's on the line. Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Hi, Pat.
Hi, good morning, Leo.
Sorry to keep you on hold so long. I apologize.
Oh, well, you keep me laughing, I'll tell you that.
Good.
I have what hopefully will be an easy question for you. I'm trying to find out, do you know of and can you recommend a free PDF file comparer app for Windows PC?
So you have two PDFs and you want to compare them.
That's correct.
We call that diffing. DIFFS, short for difference, right? Mm-hmm. So there are some online services that will do this. How often are you going to be doing this?
Rarely.
Yeah. So you might try diff-checker.com, which will let you drag the PDF file, into a window and do the comparison online for you. And you could do that for free. Okay. If you're going to do it a lot, they have a desktop app you can download and you can pay for it. But actually, diff-checker is interesting because it won't just do PDFs. It does all sorts of images as well. So if you have two pictures and you think, what's the difference? You could actually do that I Spy game, with a computer. Well, I can tell you the differences right now. It does Excel spreadsheets. You can check folders. So this is kind of cool, but that's for like if you only want to do it once. And then there are programs you can download, including some free ones that will do that. And if you had Adobe Acrobat, you could do it. They have a compare files thing.
Yeah.
But you don't need to buy Acrobat. That's expensive.
No, and I got a free version of Acrobat, and of course there is a comparer tool, but that comes with purchased version.
Isn't that nice of them? Oh, it's free unless you want to use it. Oh, you want to use it? Oh.
So if I wanted to download one just to have it for free, could you recommend one?
Sure, of course I can. I guess the one I would recommend is called, first of all, the first one I told you, diff-checker, does have a downloadable version. But for free, I don't think so.
Yeah, the ones that are free are because they have a trial. The ones I'm saying that you can download.
Yeah.
So you would still end up paying in the end. I honestly think that this website is your best bet. From
Draftable.com also will do online checking, and you can download it. There is an open source version which is free, but it may not be the easiest thing to use.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Diff-pdf. But it looks like DIFF-PDF. PDF. Yeah.
Well, it'll give me a chance to see how good my computer science degree skills are.
Oh, wow. Oh, wait a minute. You didn't tell me you were a computer science graduate.
We're good.
Okay.
But I'm 62, so, it's been a long time ago.
No, I think I'll also, what I'll do is I'll put a link to an article. Actually, Micah's going to do this. Because I know he's looking at it right now, from makeuseof.com, which is a really great site. And it says the 8 best tools to compare PDFs side by side. So you'll at least can see what the choices are. And if you do end up doing it more than a few times, it probably is worth paying a little bit for, not for Adobe Acrobat. I think Adobe Acrobat is very expensive.
Yeah, I think it's $20 a month. I'm like,
Yeah, it's really... Really, they don't even let you buy it outright anymore. You have to $20 a month, $240 a year.
7-day trial.
Jeez, $1,000 every 4 years. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
Crazy. Adobe's lost sight of reality, I believe.
Yes.
And that's, that's how they can spend so much money buying. This is one of the big stories of the week. Mm-hmm. They bought a company called Figma for what was it? It was
$20 billion.
$20 billion, the largest acquisition in history of a web-based tool. They're taking that $20 a month from you.
Well, not me.
And putting it into not me either. Holy cow! Hey, I hope that helps, Pat.
Absolutely, I appreciate your help.
Where'd you get your computer science degree?
Cornell.
Cornell.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
And what did you work in computer science for a while or?
I used to work. My first job out of college was Hewlett Packard.
HP, yeah.
HP back in the day, and then I transitioned into aerospace engineering.
Oh my goodness.
Have we talked
You're
before?
cool.
Actually, we have, but I don't think I told you any of that.
Oh well, now I will remember. Aerospace engineer, Pat. Wow, that's super cool.
That's awesome.
Did you code or did you? Was it hardware? What kind of stuff did you do?
No, well, I did some coding for the shuttle program. They did use a very antiquated form of software, Gold, UAL, no longer exists. And
Never heard of it.
I've worked, there you go.
Yeah.
I used to work for Hughes Aircraft and Lockheed Martin, lots of different companies.
So cool.
I'm getting goosebumps.
That's really great. Thanks it's wonderful to talk to you. Well, you know about diff then, that you probably used diff back in the day. It's a long time kind of Unix tool. So now they have, now they have diffs for PDFs. A pleasure talking to you, Pat.
Same here. I appreciate all the help and keep smiling
and keep listening. And if I ever have any aerospace questions, I know who to call. Wow. Absolutely. That's awesome. Thanks, Pat.
Touche. Y'all have a great day.
You too. Andrew, Solomons, Maryland. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Leo. So I had a quick question for you. So I'm looking to purchase a new camera for video purposes, and I'm stuck between the Sony a7S III and the Sony FX6. Now, they're not that...
they're not comparable at all. So one is their basically their DSLR, but specially the A7 IIIs, all the A7Ss are specially kind of crafted to make video, and because you have so many great lenses for that, you really are getting an amazing. It's SLR camera shaped, right? The FXs are video camera shaped, and those are, kind of the king of the hill. I think the FX must be much more expensive, yes?
So it's about $1,000 difference. And here's my real question. It's about $1,000 difference, but they have the same sensor. So, and I'm like, is it that much more?
And in fact, I'm looking, they take the same lenses. So
yeah, exactly. Which, all the money's in glass anyways, right?
So I'll tell you, so Canon does the same thing. They have regular cameras and cinema cameras. And a lot of what it is the features, right? You can connect it to stuff. It has a lot more settings. So are you making a movie? What are you doing?
So I do a lot of video work, right? So like right now I have a Sony A6500 and I'm looking to upgrade.
Right.
So I'm looking,
either would be a massive upgrade. But if video is your total focus, I wouldn't get an A7. I'd get the FX.
Okay.
Because it's really designed for video. They make the A7 for people who want to shoot stills and have a really good video camera as well. It's the best if it's two together. But I think if you're doing video and you want ultimate control, you want to be able to have an external monitor while you're shooting, things like that. It has different image processing capabilities. I think the story is Sony makes these amazing FX cameras, which are widely used by filmmakers. And they thought, let's take some of what we've learned and put it in our A7 line. I would get the video camera. You want the full blur thing. If you can afford it, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Thank you, Leo. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care. Leo Laporte, Micah Sargents, your tech guys. DSLRs also tend to get overheated.
No, I've noticed that. and that's one of the issues I have. The later Sony models don't necessarily have that, but the A6300 I had before
definitely
had that.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, if you look at the body, it's a much smaller body. They don't have as the FXs are designed for continuous shooting. They're going to probably do different formats, higher quality, less compression. 422, 10-bit is pretty good. You can 120K. I think what they've done is the same sensor. So I think what they did is say, well, we can put a lot of these features into a DSLR or mirrorless. I don't, what do you call it? Mirrorless.
Mirrorless.
Yeah, mirrorless. Demirrorless. But I think that really, if video is your total purpose, I would say you want the FX.
Well, thank you, Leo. I've been following you since I was a little kid on Tech TV. So,
wow, that's great. What do you shoot video for? What do you shoot it for?
Political purposes. We don't have to go down that road.
Campaign commercials, things like that.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
So you probably want the FX because then you can do the really dark, kind of low key, scary picture.
Here is how this person
Senator Feinstein doesn't want you to know. Yeah, I think it's perfect.
On the left.
You shoot on the left. Oh, then you're okay. Then I'll give you the good advice. Good for you. That's awesome. That sounds like you get busy seasons coming. If it's not already there,
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's why I have the money to upgrade to a camera.
Nice. Get a good one, Andrew. Do some good work. There's a lot to be done before November.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye. Senator Feinstein doesn't want you to know how much money she's taking from George Soros. Okay, Mr. Wilkinson.
Take this away, please.
It's all yours. 727.
No
all yours.
Thank you so very much.
Yes,
hello, everybody. Always great to see you on a Saturday. I hear there's some rain coming our way along California. Mike B says, I mentioned in the chat room that Mike Heiss asked, how the restaurant was, and that we went to dinner after the big Harman thing, and it was fantastic, really great. And I had a fish that I had never heard of before called sea breen, Breen, and it was really good, really good. And so let's see, somebody here said seam bream are also called porgies. Or what were the? I assume you're referring to those little animals in the latest Star Wars movies. Loquacious, always great to see you. My heart always warms when I see my favorite fair wench in the chat room. My wife and I are probably going to go to the Northern Fair, by the way, sometime. It starts this weekend. We're not going to go this weekend, but we are going to go some weekend. I'm not expecting a super great fair experience because it's at Casa de Fruta on the way between the 5 and the 101, or between the 101 and the 5 in California, Central California. I suspect it's not going to be a complete immersion, complete withdrawal from modern life, but what the heck? It's still going to be fun. I like going to the fair. MacBookie, are TCL TVs reliable? As far as I know, they are. I have not heard any reports of lots of failures on them. So I think they are. You were asking the question before, a 100-inch UST or a 98-inch TCL TV, both the same price. I would caution you to think about the price in terms of, does the UST come with its own screen? If not, then you have to budget for a screen, and that's going to be another $1,000. So maybe they aren't the same price after all. Maybe the UST is $1,000 more. If you counted that in, and they still are the same price, then I would say the TV is probably better in most cases. It's brighter, certainly. The 4-movie theater, I don't remember what the lag time was on that, but you mentioned something in the chat room about lag time for gaming. And I would have to research that to know which one had the better lag time. As I recall from the UST shootout, or showdown they called it, that the 4-movie theater, which won the showdown, had a pretty surprisingly good or low lag time. So I would look into that if you're a gamer. Certainly the TCL, the TV, will be brighter, significantly brighter. Even though UST projector is meant to be used in a room with ambient light and the screen is an ambient light rejecting screen, it's simply not going to put as much light out into the room as a TV by a order of magnitude, probably, or at least a bunch. MacBookie, oh good, you gave me some information here. They are the same price with the screen included. Lag time on the TV is around 7 milliseconds. The 4-movie theater is around 30 milliseconds. Well, there you go. If you're a gamer, you definitely want the TV then, without question. Without question. Eric Duckman, yeah, put up Casa de Fruta, visit the Ren Fair. Yep. Even though it's not going to be, as I say, a complete removal from the 21st century, it'll still be fun. Loquacious misses the fair too, yeah. But after it moved out of Calabasas, it wasn't the same. That is also true. After it moved out of Calabasas, I still was playing in it when it was out in San Bernardino, and that was pretty good. And then it moved to Irwindale, and that became not as good. Plus, the fair people who put it on started allowing very anachronistic music and stuff to go on there, and there were food trucks. They weren't even disguised, so it was like, MacBookie says, yes, it comes with that, the same price with the screen. 98 TV is around 450 nits. Yeah, I'm sure the UST projector on that screen is probably closer to 250. Scooter X, did I party at the Sagebrush Cantina after a day at the fair out in Calabasas? No, I never did. That would have been fun to do. I did party at the fair after hours, though. That was pretty fun. Yes, indeedy. Loquacious, yeah, they did need to try a bit harder to reach authenticity. I agree. Plus, they have all these theme weekends now. Pirate Weekend and Cosplay Weekend. It have nothing to do with the Renaissance. Grr. Let's see, Jim Allen, by the way, my screen name is without an underscore, just mash my first and last name together. How did Sony create a master monitor using IPS LCD technology with a backlight beat all consumer OLEDs on picture quality? Well, I'm not sure that it beats all consumer TVs, but it does better than most LCD TVs because it uses what's called a dual layer LCD. So it has an LCD panel that forms the actual picture, and then behind it, it has another LCD panel that's only black and white that basically gives you local dimming at the pixel level. So it gets much better contrast than a consumer TV, except Hisense now uses this technology in their U9 or U8 consumer TV. So there is at least one consumer TV that uses this same technology. And it does give you better contrast, better black levels. But it still doesn't solve, and an IPS panel will give you better off-axis, but of course a professional monitor is going to be right on axis. There you go.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, now fully caffeinated. Micah Sargent as well. We're taking your calls at 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We will do calls today. Yes, we will. Johnny Jet, though, is coming up in about half an hour to talk travel. And, of course, the Giz Wiz, Dick DiBartolo, later in the show with his gadget of the day. But on we go with the calls to Ypsilanti, Michigan. Samad's neighbor, David. Hello, David.
Hello there, Leo and Micah. Thank you so much. The issue I'm concerned about right now are license plate camera readers. They track the vehicle's
They're
make,
everywhere.
Color, and obviously the license plate number.
Yep.
And only 4 days ago, our city council voted to ban them.
Oh.
And they're used in our city.
Good for them.
However, our township is in favor of using them. So
they're used, of course, on toll roads and toll bridges. That's how they do the automatic toll stuff, right?
And there are red light cameras too.
Yeah. Remember that when you're using city streets and highways and all that, that's not the same as being in public. It's why they can make you have a license to drive on it. It is. I'm not sure what the legal term is, but it's a privilege to use them, and so they have the city and the government, the people who built those, reserve the right to do all sorts of things besides monitoring your speed. And those cameras, I think, are just another way. I mean, they're fully legal. There's no precedent for saying they're not. You may not like it. I don't like it, but not much we can do about it. I'm glad. It's good that the Ypsilanti City Council saw the light. I think you're starting to see a lot more all over the country, all over the world, a lot more concern for privacy, and that's good news.
Reportedly, law enforcement sees it as a tool to track people down and solve crimes.
Of course, right? You're not in favor of criminals. What do you have to hide, David? If you're an honest. See, this is how they get you. They say, well, if you have nothing to, and a lot of people, I hear people say, well, I got nothing to hide, so that's fine. But of course, it's fine until somebody decides they don't like you, and then they can use it against you. And it's reasonable. I have nothing to hide, but I still close the door to the bathroom. It's reasonable to say I want some privacy. Unfortunately,
I have curtains on my window too.
Yeah, you have curtains, right? Unfortunately, you're not in your home when you're on the highway. You are in a public space. And they have the right to do all sorts of things. Require you to have a driver's license to drive on it. They can, set speed limits. And these cameras are just more of the same. I don't think there's, unless you get an enlightened local government that says, the state of Illinois bans biometric recognition. You can't use face recognition in the state of Illinois. That's enlightened. That's brilliant. But the problem is law enforcement and government say, but how are we supposed to catch bad guys if you take away these really useful tools? And I understand the tension here, and I'm not in favor of bad guys. I'm not against law enforcement, but that's why we have a Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and especially the Fifth Amendment against the constitutional right against unlawful search and seizure. And I think a lot of people see these starting to become more and more intrusive. There is no specific privacy right in the Constitution, but it's implied. And I think you do have a privacy right. You just don't have one on the freeway.
There are some devices I have found. There are lenses that you can put in front of your license plate, which allow seeing the plate clearly only from a certain angle, such as straight on. I've even seen that there's apparently some kind of spray which you can spray on the plate. Sure. I'm not sure that could even work. It
may also be illegal, I might add, because they're going to assert their right to read your license plate. And, of course, that right exists for law officers, right? You can't put mud on your license plate if you're about to rob a bank. but this is new territory, these license plate cameras. I completely understand. But our privacy is being whittled away dramatically.
There are also devices that apparently there are LEDs which apparently can spray the field with so much light that it blurs out your plate. And I'm not necessarily condoning any of these, but I'm wondering if we're going to have a patchwork of you're going to have cameras here, but not here and over there in this town. What do we do? Is there a solution to?
You just have to lobby your local representatives. We have it. There are privacy rights. The 14th Amendment says, what you do in your house is up to you, but you're not in your house. And just like if you walk into a mall, right, your rights, you've diminished your rights. Sometimes they even put a sign up, just, a little sign, but a sign saying, we have the right to kick you out for any reason and blah, blah, blah. Your rights are diminished. This is a difficult balance. I think some people are starting to feel like our government is not fully trustworthy. And that's really why I think this is starting to come up. Because, there's privacy from corporations. I don't want them to know where I'm, what drugs I'm buying, so they give me a lot of ads. That's one thing. The worst, corporations don't own tanks and missiles and law enforcement. So the worst they can do is, kind of show you ads. But when government gets in it, they're going to do a lot worse. And right now, I think we can say we're lucky to live in the U.S. where government is constrained somewhat, but there are plenty of countries in the world where it's not. And those kinds of surveillance technologies are used to harass people and to jail dissidents and so forth. And I would hate to see that come to this country. So best thing we can do, vote. Get your local representatives like the Ypsilanti City Council to prohibit this stuff. You're right. This, you're coming up against, the county and the state and federal governments, and in many cases, law enforcement is able to convince citizens too. Right? There's a guy in our chat room, I love her, says, "Hey, I'm in favor of this because, I was." I was a victim of a crime, and they use these technologies to capture the guy. I was given justice, so I'm all for getting bad guys. And I agree. But it's that tension between how far, look, if you want to go all full Minority Report, 1984, we could really catch some bad guys if we had cameras in everybody's house. There's definitely a limit. If all you want to do is catch bad guys, then all of this stuff is, yeah, bravo, yeah. The problem is who's a bad guy and in whose eyes. And I think we have all, in this country all had there's a long-standing tension between the right to being private and the need, of course, to enforce the law. And I think we don't want to push it too far in any direction. And I'm with you. I don't like the idea of these cameras. But right now, unless your government passes a law against it, there's nothing you can do with it. They're completely legal. And honestly, what will be illegal is any technological means to bypass it. They'll just make those illegal, right? There's some good science fiction stories about face recognition. Face recognition in public is even worse than license plate. License plates issued by the government, so all they're doing is recognizing something they issued. What happens if you've got face recognition everywhere? They don't just know where you drive; they know where you walk. That's coming to a lot of places. That's why Illinois passed that law. That's a real concern. And there are a lot of science fiction stories where people wear light collars. I actually had one of our engineers who was going to build us one of these because we had somebody who didn't want to be seen, and cameras are everywhere in our studio. And she was going to make her this collar that would project infrared light. The camera would just see a ball of light walking around, but humans wouldn't see the infrared. I think you're going to see stuff like that, and I also think it's just a matter of time before they make stuff like that illegal, because they want to see everybody. This is why you vote. This is why you put a limit on what the government can do. And the government is us. I know this is a little bit of a Pollyanna-ish point of view, but in theory, and I think mostly in the U.S., the government reflects society's very real needs and interests. And society wants to capture criminals. I understand. Police have a monopoly on violence. They're allowed to carry guns and billy clubs, and they're allowed to use those in the pursuit of their job, whereas we're not, right? But it's appropriate for there to be oversight. And if people decide we don't want face recognition every corner, license plate cameras in every corner, then they can say no. But you do that through government. Doing it on your own is going to be tricky. 8888 ask Leo. I'm sorry, Mike. I had to go off on
No, I'm glad you did.
On a rant. Get up on the soapbox because I'm with you, David. You're lucky that you have an enlightened local government in Ypsilanti, frankly. 8888 ask Leo. Micah and Leo, your tech guys. More calls right after this. I'll get out of the way. I forget sometimes that I've been doing this for so long all by myself. I forget there's somebody else here. I apologize. You take it from now. I'm just going to sit back and relax. We're going to go see Katy Perry in October, and Micah's going to do the show all by his lonesome. Again.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thanks. Now let's get you to discuss the merits of changing the clock.
Don't get me started.
Charging or changing?
He means daylight saving time.
Oh.
I actually have softened my stance on that. I used to be, like, why are we doing this?
What made you change?
There's counter evidence that says there are some real reasons you want to do this. May not be. Yeah, Corey is coming up on a twit soon. I am Left Shark. Corey is coming up soon. I don't know. Yes, heart attacks and auto RX go up the day we set the clocks back, but there's also, you don't want kids going to school in the dark, and there's lots of, it's complicated. It's complicated.
That's
complicated. Coming up, Johnny Jett from Cranky Dorkfest at the In-N-Out by LAX. That's just around the corner.
Is that a play on Unterdonkfest?
Unterdonkfest, what's that?
I don't know if it's an actual real thing, but it is a reference. Oh, no, it is. Okay. Well, it might
be. Is that from The Office? Yeah. It's from The Office, isn't it? He's kind of a fan of The Office. This you should know about Micah.
Yeah.
8888 ask Leo. He actually did a podcast about The Office.
Retrospective rewatch podcast.
Every single episode. Did you get through all the episodes?
No, I ended up having to say, I've got too much to do. So now my former co-host and Stephen Hackett
still doing it
from Relay are doing it.
There's a lot of episodes of The Office.
So many.
And frankly, the last season, you don't want to do that.
The last several seasons.
Yeah. Once Michael Scott left, it wasn't really the same.
It was not the same.
No.
Anyone who's a fan of The Office will tell you that.
It's hysterical. All those guys now are getting work doing ads and Cameo.
Yes, Cameo.
They're huge on Cameo. We were talking about surveillance. One more thing to say, which I think is important, is this technology is moving much more quickly than our jurisprudence and our understanding and our governments. For instance, Graveyard Tuba in our chat room says, police have drones in my town. Nobody told anybody. They just put them in place, and now drones are seen cruising neighborhoods for no reason. Imagine that, right? And again, if you're anti-crime, you say, well, that's good. I mean, I'd prefer to see foot patrols, but I don't know. Technology's giving. Just watch Minority Report, the movie Minority Report. Pre-crime.
That's scary.
8888 ask Leo. That's the phone number for Leo and Micah. Scott on the line from Lexington, North Carolina. Hi, Scott.
Hello, Mr. President, and I guess Mr. Vice President.
I don't know. Micah could be chairman. You don't know, right?
Either way.
Prime Minister.
My question is about Zoom and my voice. I've got a fine camera, and I can adjust that. But I want to adjust my voice. I know radio guys, you know how to add bass. And
no, I sound like this normally. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know how to do it. And I don't know what kind of equipment I need or if I can do it with software, because all I've got right now are USB mics. I'd be happy to buy a Shure MV7 you've recommended.
That's a great mic, but it's not going to give you a big bottom. So there's a couple of things. First of all, it is a dynamic mic. So one of the things about dynamic mics, like the one Micah and I are using, Heil PR40, is something called the proximity effect. So I'm about 6 inches from the mic, but as I get closer, the bass gets more pronounced. And you see comics use these with the Shure SM58s that they usually have in nightclubs. They'll do the, number 53, your pizzas, that kind of thing. And that's the proximity effect. So that's one way, is work the mic closer and you'll get more bass, especially with that new Shure. Sure, that's a very good podcasting / Zoom mic. But I'll tell you what Adam Curry uses. I don't know if you want to or not. He uses an Aphex Aural exciter with the big bottom. And that's actually a switch. It's a processor. And you can get it on the RØDECaster if you use if you're doing a podcast, and I think that's probably why Curry has it. You can get the RØDECaster Pro, which is an inexpensive but very popular mixer for podcasting. Gives you several mics and so forth. And it has a switch for the big bottom. And when you turn it on, you sound like this. It's what radio DJs did for years. So if you're really looking for that, honestly,
yes,
it's a...
Okay.
Who are you zooming with?
Yeah. The president and the chairman, apparently.
Who's zooming whom? That's you want something, a processor, is what it is. And there are processors. The Aphex Aural exciter was the first processor. I remember when people started using it maybe 40 years ago in music studios, and you'd say, well, what does it do? And they say, well, I can't explain it, but just listen. But the big bottom is definitely, if you switch it on, you will tell. I'll put a link to a video from Rode that will give you an audio feeling of what the big bottom sounds like. I once went to a DJ convention, the Gavin Report, which was a radio magazine. All the DJs go to this. It was at San Francisco at the St. Francis Hotel. And I'm walking around and all these guys, WYKY is St. Louis. They're all talking like this. You come and you shake his head. Hello, Leo. Hello. It's good to see you, big voice guy. They all were doing that. So some of it you can do with your own voice. But I think having a good mic really helps. Okay?
Well, thank you guys very much.
All right, you're very welcome. Would you like a position in our cabinet?
I would be honored.
Secretary of the Interior, is that what it's?
Secretary of Audio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The man in charge of the big bottom.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you, Scott.
Sure.
Processing is the key in all radio, and we process a little bit. We use we have a very good audio system from the folks at Telos called the Axia. A lot of radio stations use it. And the Axia comes with a processor called the Omnia that is really state-of-the-art. And nowadays, it used to be, tubes, and nowadays it's all digital. And it really is amazing what it can do.
Burke, can you turn on my big bottom?
Micah wants a big bottom, Burke.
How do I turn on the big bottom?
We should give you a switch.
That would be fun. Flip the switch to the big bottom.
Hi, this is Micah. What can I do for you?
So are you telling me that all those trailers with those people with the deep voices are probably using a big bottom?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. In a world. That guy, he talks like this in real life. The Big Bottom Bundle, only $99 at avid.com. Go out and get your Aphex Aural exciter with Big Bottom Pro. Sounds great?
Oh, I thought for sure it'd be thousands of dollars.
Well, that's just a software plugin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can apply that after the fact. Yes, Dr. Mom is our Surgeon General. Absolutely. You get to wear the uniform. Leo and Micah. Johnny coming up. In a world where one man...
Oh, the big bottom is on.
Oh, I forgot to turn on my...
I should talk normally.
Don LaFontaine, I forgot to turn on my big bottom. In a world. See, a lot of that is a proximity effect if you just work the mic closer.
Yeah, I'll get a little ASMR in there.
In a world. If they're working the mic too close, you can hear...
all their mouth
sounds, which is not good.
Unless it's a thing you like. Some people...
Some people want the ASMR of juicy mouths in a world.
Good question, Scooter X. How do you spell ASMR?
What does ASMR stand for?
Autonomic something.
You know, when I was a kid, I think it probably was ASMR. Like, sometimes, I don't know how I could trigger it, but I'd be listening to something, and I kind of go in this altered state.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you almost, like, not, like, you could move, but you'd have to effort it.
Uh-huh.
And it was very pleasant. I think that's what ASMR is trying to do.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of a peaceful, zoned out.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
Do you know what you were listening to when
sometimes it's just people talking. Like you're a kid, you're lying in bed and you hear the grown-ups talking in the other room, kind of thing. Or maybe my mom reading to me, but I think it was more like that. The former. It was like
kind of like Peanuts style
in the back. Yeah, I would like to figure that out. No, I wasn't on acid yet. That was later.
That was later. Not when he was a kid.
That was later. He is everywhere, man. He's not the U.S. Postal Service, but he's the next best thing. He's Johnny Jet, our travel guru, johnnyjet.com. But I thought you were going to be at In-N-Out today, John.
I was. I just returned. I just was trying to save everyone's ears from all the noise. There was a DJ. I was at the Cranky Dorkfest. It's still going on right next to the LAX In-N-Out Burger in the park. It was so crowded. I couldn't find parking the first time. I had to go drive like around the airport to come back and do a U-turn. And
why that In-N-Out? What's the deal?
Well, because it has one of the best plane spotting spots in the whole country. It's amazing. I mean, the planes fly right over you. And, we were just there. We had a bunch of Asian flights coming in, especially from Japan.
Oh, those big jumbo jets, the 777s and the
A350s, 777s.
I like the
no
380
A380 today.
No 380.
I didn't see the 380. Not yet.
Are they still going to fly those, or are they?
No, they're flying. I saw Qantas land yesterday at LAX when I was driving by.
If you ever get a chance to fly a 380, but the problem with the Airbus 380 is there's different configurations. So you could put a lot of seats in it, and then it's not going to be.
You could put up to 800
yeah,
something.
That I don't want to fly in. But some of the, maybe Emirates, some of the higher end Singapore.
First class has 2 showers. Has a shower. 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes of water. And the shower, they're huge. I've been on it.
Where does that water come from?
Yeah, I mean, that's how heavy
it's the coffee water.
Birds are. No, you don't want to drink the water.
Don't drink it.
Actually, you don't even want to eat ice on the plane or drink tea.
Keep your mouth closed while you're showering on Emirates. Ugh. Ew. Now you've spoiled it for me, which is good because I couldn't afford it anyway. So you went to Kadonk Fest or whatever it's called.
Cranky Dorkfest.
Cranky Dorkfest.
So it's Cranky Flier. He's got a great newsletter, but it's more for aviation geeks.
People like to look at the undercarriage of airplanes as they fly 1,500 feet above you, or 500.
They're less than that.
200.
They're less. It's like 100 to 200.
Wow.
Maybe 50. Maybe 50 to 100 yards. I mean, they're coming. It's close.
That's wild.
And I was at a party last night. And there was an Australian guy there. He was like, I drive by LAX. I see people with long lenses, and I just don't get it. I was like, listen, I'm one of those aviation geeks. It just excites me when I see these big birds flying. It always amazed me that you could get on a plane in 2 hours, you'd be somewhere completely different. I used to go from freezing cold Connecticut to hot and sunny Florida in the wintertime, literally 2 hours and change.
I think if I were down there, lived nearby, because I would love a double animal style and then watch some planes go over. That sounds like a little bit of heaven.
Well, they did have a broadcast booth, a podcaster. And
I'm a radio guy. I could go down there.
Definitely.
Then they'd get thousands of people.
But speaking about Asian
bring your
flights,
wife, bring your pink slip, bring your checkbook. Come on down to the Big Donk Festival here at In-N-Out at LAX. I think that's good. I might do that next year.
They would love to have you. But
except you couldn't hear anything because it's so noisy. We'd have to stop broadcasting every 15 seconds as a 777 goes overhead.
Every 2 minutes. Zip Air. Have you heard of Zip Air?
Zip Air? I'm not sure I want to fly Zip Air. What is Zip Air? Huh?
So they're
Zippity Doodah Air?
Yeah, they're a low fare carrier that is a subsidiary of Japan Airlines.
Oh.
And they just announced they're flying from San Jose, California.
Okay.
Right now they fly 5 international destinations: Bangkok, Honolulu, LAX, and I think in Singapore and Seoul.
Oh.
But now they just announced San Jose in December, and they have crazy low fares. $471 round trip to Tokyo.
Wow.
From San Jose.
But you can't get off the airplane, so you'll need the round trip because...
No,
what?
Japan's opening up. They're going to make an announcement this week. I think they're going to make an announcement this week.
Oh, my. Because they were very restrictive. Actually, Singapore and Hong Kong, same thing, right? They were very restrictive. So
Definitely. They realize they're losing so much, and you know, you got to deal with it now.
So how much round trip to Tokyo, San Jose to Tokyo?
$471, including all taxes. But this is a better deal. Business class, lie flat seat, $1,600 round trip.
Oh,
$1,600. It's a lie flat seat.
I've always wondered.
So they leave from LAX and SJC.
Yep, but SJC is going to be starting in December.
Okay, so right now
but
it's
you can
LAX.
book it now, and they have an introductory fare, so you got to jump on it because that fare is not going to last. But you can book it for, you know, see if it's available in the summer. Just keep in mind that these guys are a low fare carrier. Even in business class, they charge you for all extras like seat assignments. They'll charge you for food, so keep that.
So
but
if
Wi-Fi
I go,
is free actually. Wi-Fi is free, and they fly 787-8s.
Is that a nice
Dreamliner?
It's a Dreamliner. Oh, I've been on that. That's the one where you don't close the windows. They just
exactly press a button. It's 290 seats.
The windows are open. It's good fresh air.
What?
Yeah.
Coming in.
Fresh.
So 41,000 yen if I decide to go to Tokyo from LAX on my birthday. How many? That's $416, I think. That's nothing.
The yen, I think it was like
it's a dime, right?
0.0027. I you know, it's difficult to convert the yen for me because you know,
how long is that flight?
Oh yeah, it's a long flight, I bet.
Is it
from LAX to Tokyo? No, it's 10, 11 hours depending on the wind.
I'm going to Tokyo.
Maybe 12 hours. Actually, I've done it a few times. I think it's 12. Coming back, I've done it in 9.5.
Wow, their cheapest round trip is $255, 36,500 yen.
That's one way.
That's one way, okay, but still, still,
it's a great deal, and Japan's going to open. So,
is this a low cost airline though? I mean,
definitely, it's Japan Airlines. I've heard mixed reviews, but it's a brand new plane, so you're going to get nickel and dime. Yeah. But listen, just don't check so much luggage.
Wear your short legs. Don't wear your long legs. Yeah, weekend in Japan.
If you're flying business class, you don't need to worry about it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
For $1,600,
I love
round
Japan.
trip.
I actually think Japan's one of my favorite places to visit.
It is. Yeah. People are so polite. It's so clean. They're so fashionable. The food is great. Unless you're, my wife's like they're so fashionable. When we went,
oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't think Johnny. Looking at your T-shirt,
they look at me and I look like King Kong walking around there. In my
What's that? You have planes on your T-shirt. Is that from the Badonkadonk?
Well, this is from LAX.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool shirt.
Oh, it's got that.
Yeah.
What did they do? So LAX had this kind of iconic restaurant on legs that closed for a while. Is it reopened?
The Encounter. It's not. I don't know if it's going to reopen. But I think they do. They might do like party space. I don't know if they still
To me,
do,
that's LAX. You know, that is LAX. When you see that, you go. Yeah.
I love it.
They should put an In-N-Out in there. It'd probably have good views of the birds.
Oh, they have incredible views.
Yeah.
There's a whole viewing deck up there, but there's a restaurant called the Proud Bird, which is on the other side of the runway, a little bit further back. But I told Cranky he should do it there next year because you need there's much more parking. Yeah.
Is Cranky cranky or is he nice?
He can be cranky, but he's a nice guy. But speaking of cranky, do we have time? American Airlines, announced this week that they might be eliminating one of their best online booking features, which is they're the only airline that puts that allows their customers to put their flights on hold as long as you're booking 7 days or more.
I like that
for a cash ticket. But they're testing it out for 2 weeks right now that they might take it away. And that really will disappoint a lot of loyal flyers because, I love to find flights, find certain seats, put it on hold. You don't need to put a credit card down and then, check with my schedule or whatever, or see if the price goes down or up the next day, and then I'll book it. And so it looks like they're getting away with it. But keep in mind that every airline, no matter if they're foreign or not, if they fly to the U.S. and you book a ticket to or from the U.S., they have to give you your money back within 24 hours if you book a ticket, if you decide not to. So I always set a reminder. Say, let's say I'm going to go to New York next week, or even Paris.
You have a day.
Or in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I can book it right now, and I have 24 hours to decide. Yeah. If I not, but other airlines, they make you put the credit card down. So then you have to go into their website and hit cancel. In American, you don't. It just disappears. Nice. So
Johnny Jet, I'm sorry you didn't bring me some animal style fries, but okay.
But listen, I didn't even have time to grab a double. I was like, you know what? I can't do that. I can't broadcast.
Maybe
from here.
the time would be tomorrow to go there. JohnnyJet.com is his website. Subscribe to his free newsletters. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter. He's the best. Travel guru, Johnny Jet. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Oh, I would love to do the radio show but it'd probably be too noisy to do the show from down there, huh?
If you have the right gear, I think it'll be fine.
I need a soundproof booth. That's the right gear.
Yeah, it's loud. It's loud. They're coming. They're. If you look at I just tweeted a picture of Cranky and I on Twitter with the hashtag Dorkfest. That's what it looks like people are using, so you can see some of the planes.
Hashtag Dorkfest.
Well, and as Kim points out, they are broadcasting the show live, so there is someone there that's
from a podcast.
YouTubing
it live.
Oh, YouTuber. Okay.
I don't know what that sounds or looks like, but I'm clicking to see.
Well, see, on YouTube, it doesn't matter if you've got jets going.
But they had some airlines there. Spirit was there, and people were like, actually, I forgot to grab a Spirit bag because all that stuff's going to be collectibles.
Yeah, when they go out of business.
They're going to be JetBlue. Yeah. They're going to be JetBlue soon. But
he's wearing an
AHA
t-shirt.
And they just went out. They're
gone? AHA's gone?
Yeah, that was a Reno-based airline.
So funny. We were in Santa Rosa a month ago. They were doing their first flight from Santa Rosa. They had balloons and everything. They're gone already?
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check now. I'm like, but yeah, they're gone.
Let's look at some pictures at Dorkfest.
Airline
you're right.
There's
a lot of people. This is a good day to call. Tomorrow, I wish you were here tomorrow, Micah. Because now that the NFL is back, once the games start, it gets really quiet in here. It gets really quiet.
Oh, because everybody's watching.
They're all listening and watching the football game and not listening to your old tech guy pal. Perry is on the line from Los Angeles. Our next caller. Hi, Perry.
Hello. How you doing?
Well, I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I've been a fan for old Canada time.
Oh yeah. Used to go up there every month for a week to tape shows, call for help, and lab with Leo. Wow.
Well, I am a deserter of Windows, and I'm going into using Apple. And I bought an M1, and I've come across a small problem. I do not know how to make if I click on a file, how to make it open with what I want it to open with. There is a right thing, and it says open with, and then it says I have programs that use a certain program, and it says default, and I want to change that default.
Yes.
Open the program every time.
So this is, I understand why you thought maybe open with was where to go. So on any given file, you'll right click, and instead of choosing open with, you're actually going to choose get info. When you choose Get Info, this little window pops up and it shows all sorts of information about the file that you're working with. And under one of those sections is the section called Open With. You'll hit the little disclosure triangle to bring that down. And then underneath there, you will see Open With and a set of apps. It'll look just like that Open With window from before, but here's what's different about this version is once you select a different app, a button within that section says Change All. And when you click Change All, then it will tell macOS, hey, I want to always use this application that I've selected for any file that has this extension on the end. So yeah, you just needed to go one step further. You go Get Info instead of Open With, find that Open With section, change it to the app you want, and choose Change All.
Bless you. And just to let you know, I'm visually impaired, and I'm using an LG 52-inch monitor that I sit about a foot away from.
Nice.
And it works really good with the M1. I'm very happy with that machine.
Wonderful. Yeah, I run a 55-inch monitor myself on my Mac Studio, and it's great. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, in Windows, it's a little more complicated. They have a database of what they call file associations. Windows does it based on the extension. Apple's a little more sophisticated. From day one, Apple had a much more sophisticated system where they would actually embed in the document attributes of what you open something with. I don't know if they still do that. That's a pretty old school way of doing it. But here I am looking at a PDF, and if I go to the info and then look at open with, I can choose a variety of things. And you'll get, at that point, you'll get a choice of whether you want to always open it with that, just press change all, and that will change everything with a PDF extension in this case to whatever it becomes the new default app. So you can do it onesie, twosie, or you can change it permanently. I think that's actually a good way to do it. It's a lot easier to do it that way, I think, than the Windows file association system, which is kind of complicated. Does that make sense?
That does. I did what I needed to do.
Yay.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Micah and Leo. Like I said, I've been a viewer since way back.
Way back.
Leo, I'm only a month older than you.
So you've been watching since I was born.
No. I've been watching since the Canadian days.
Okay. Those were the days. I loved going up to Toronto and then later Vancouver. It's a beautiful, two beautiful cities. It was so much fun. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for calling, Perry. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Let's see. We have time, I think.
Ring the bell.
Oh.
We did it.
I don't have a bell.
Oh. We got the answer. There should be a bell.
Wait a minute. I need something that says. Wait a minute. Here, I have a bell. Wait a minute. I do have a bell.
Send that out at some point. And I would.
We're at Dorkfest all of a sudden.
One.
Let's close Dorkfest. Yeah. Yay. Okay. Now, Tom from Keene, New Hampshire. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Leo. Hello, Micah. How you doing today?
We're great.
Well,
how are you?
All right. I want to talk about Andy Anako's favorite new feature on the iPhone.
The Dynamic Island. Yes. What? Do you have a new iPhone? You need an iPhone 4?
Yeah, I got it yesterday. Yeah,
Good.
I got the Pro yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with this darn thing.
you can't do anything with this darn thing. Your app has to do it.
I don't know. Right. So when I tapped on it earlier, it opened up the music app and started playing music.
Right.
Yesterday, I tapped on it and it opened up my podcast app. So you can't. There's no setting for it. You can't choose.
It's whatever. So I'm playing some music, and you can see that where the pill is. I'm showing this on radio, so you'll have to use your imagination. But you can.
I'm blind too. So
okay, good. You're used to it. So where the pill is, once I'm doing music, I see. It looks like a volume control and an album art. It's a little teeny weeny though. If I tap it, that's when it goes bigger. And then I get a control. So it's whatever's running in the background. See, so and you could tell by seeing what's running in the background. Now I've closed music, and now it doesn't have that anymore. It has nothing. So
that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's whatever's running. So if you're running a podcast, then that's what'll show up, obviously. And this requires, frankly, it requires that if it's not an Apple app, that the developer add that. And I think a lot of them haven't. Let's look at Pocket Cast.
It's a little too soon.
Yeah, see, Pocket Cast doesn't change.
If it's media or audio streaming, then it will happen automatically as long as they're using the built-in API for that. But yes, there are some third-party apps. I saw Apollo, the app for looking at Reddit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they have a little bug that let me make sure I'm. It's called Pixel Pal. Welcome to Dynamic Island Zoo. So you choose what you want: a cat, a dog, a hedgehog, or a fox, or an axolotl. What did you pick, Micah? Did you pick a hedgehog?
Oh, I picked a dog.
You got to pay for it. Oh man!
Only the axolotl costs extra. Only the axolotl.
Only axolotl costs extra.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
That's where you have to pay for Ultra. But the dog is, if you have Pro, then you're good.
I'm confused. All right. Well, anyway, I can't show. Can I show you? Oh yeah, there it is. You see, it's a little tiny doggy, or in my case, a hedgehog, right above it, and it walks around. I think, right?
Yes, it does. It's kind of like a little Tamagotchi almost.
So I guess I have to pay. I thought I'd paid for this, but Apollo's a nice Reddit thing. So the third parties can do it.
It goes on and on. You'll get more and more apps that work.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
When Apple announced this last week, I was actually pleased to hear that they had created what we call an API, an interface for developers to use it.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So that's the good news. And right now, yeah, it's Apple stuff. It's an interesting choice. They're taking something that they have to do, which
I didn't know that part was there.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing. You don't see it, do you? Because it's a dark part of the screen. So it's not like the notch where it's super annoying. I guess if I open something that doesn't know about the notch, it's gonna maybe show a hole in there. If you show videos, they're going to be truncated. They won't go all the way to the edge. So some people say, hey, you're wasting screen. But you need to put that hole in there for the front-facing camera, for all the LiDAR, all this fancy stuff they've got in there. So Apple's embracing, basically, something they have to do.
I think because of the initial excitement about the dynamic island, a lot of folks maybe got the misrepresentation that it was this active thing, but it isn't. It is a passive addition. So it's not necessarily something you use to interact with. It sort of sits in the background and just shows you things.
Like little people walking around on your pixels. Hey, a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for calling. Micah and Leo, you're tech guys. More to come. This is a Pro Max I'm looking at. So you can't really see it. But in theory, there's a little...
It is very small.
Oh, I don't see yours. Yeah, well, maybe... so I have to go in settings. Where is it? Pixel Pals. I paid for Ultra just to get it. It's your fault. It's there. Oh, there it is. See? Oh, yeah, there. It's tiny. That's all. I wonder, is it in appearance? Must be in appearance. Can I make the Pixel Pal bigger? Good Lord, there's a lot of stuff here. App icon. Wubba dubba dub. Yeah, no, I don't want to change the app icon. Filter gestures, accounts, about.
I don't know. Maybe theme.
Theme?
Oh, no, it's not
theme. Maybe if you're just looking at it and you tap it, you get to choose. No, it's just.
Where are you?
Where are you, Pixel? It's really tiny.
Oh, there it is. It's in general up at the very top.
Oh, of course it's in general.
It's the first option.
Pixel Pals. Where else would it be? So I picked a hedgehog. Maybe I'll pick a cat instead since, cats are bigger. So the cat's sleeping right now. You see these little Z's coming.
The cat named Hugo.
Hugo.
I've got Rupert the dog.
Boy, it's tiny.
It's very tiny.
But it's kind of cute. I mean,
that's all it is. Yeah. It's just a little fun, cute.
So I wonder, let's see. It's probably all Apple stuff. And you don't notice it unless you're looking.
It's not really.
So if I listen to an audiobook, will it?
It should. In fact, I was just listening to an audiobook on the way.
Oh yeah, there it goes. So Audible's got that.
So you can see
But all it does with Audible is open up the app, unfortunately.
Yeah, it doesn't pop up the little... I imagine that could be added on Audible's part.
Yeah, because music does that.
Mm-hmm. Music has a little widget kind of thing.
Yeah. Apple's music.
I do like with Face ID in third-party apps, it does a nice little animation
up there.
at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I like that too. Let's see. I'll go to Bitwarden does it, I think. So, see?
Yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
I like that a lot.
It's really cool.
Oh, and interestingly, I thought I was the only one. I originally got the clear case so that I could show off the iPhone 14 in deep purple.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the only one who had this happen. There's the case, its edges are kind of pressed away from the device. And so it's like this weird creaking thing every time you hold it.
I don't like that.
It felt terrible. And this is the Apple one. And it felt like it was going to fall out because it was not gripping the edges.
So what'd you get
properly.
instead?
This is the forest green. Or as some people are calling it, the turtle green.
It's like there's no forest that looks like that.
No.
So I have the Nomad case, which fits very nicely, but I think it's great. I can use my old case until I get my new one, which is also from Davis Case. I use these wallet cases, which I like, because then I don't have to carry a phone and a wallet.
Yeah,
this is all in there.
That's nice. All together.
All my $100 bills are in there.
Correct.
I still haven't added anything to this.
Just do what I tell you.
Love that one. That's that shrimp in the fridge.
So I'm looking in the fridge, and Lisa left her lunch there, and I said, "Oh, I should eat this. It's tuna rice." And Micah says, "When's that from?" I said, "Wednesday." I said, "No.
Please don't eat that.
Don't eat Wednesday's tuna." I said, "Oh, wait a minute. It's not tuna. It's shrimp." Oh, okay. Not a problem. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, Micah Sargent here. We are the tech guys, ready to answer your calls, talk about anything. What would you like to talk about today? 8888 Ask Leo. We've got the new iPhones. We can talk about that. Mm-hmm. You've got an M.2, not dot, no dot,
no
M2
dot.
Mac.
Yeah, MacBook Air.
In midnight bleu.
Bleu, yeah. Sacré.
You could talk about that. We could talk about Windows. You're all over Windows. You've got a blue Windows machine as well.
Yes, Elvis.
Is all your stuff blue?
Those are just the colors that are available.
Oh, okay.
Look somewhat nice.
If you could have any color you want.
Green.
Everything
you like
would
green.
be green.
Yeah. That's my favorite color.
No one understands.
Green is great.
No one understands it. It's
color
funny.
Of nature.
It is the color of nature, but this is not nature. This is technology, so it should be black or gray.
Well, fine, whatever.
Because there's no nature. You see what I'm saying?
No nature here.
No nature. Way back in the day, before your time, PC manufacturers thought, this beige, they were all beige, right? These beige boxes, nobody wants. We're not going to get Mr. and Mrs. America to buy a beige computer. That's for the office. So Acer was the first to do this. They made a computer. It was like colors and swoopy lines, and it had holes in it and stuff. They look really good. They couldn't sell them. Nobody wanted. They said, that's not a computer.
That doesn't look serious.
That's a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
It should be gray or beige. Herb's on the line. Oh, no. Herb, you're coming up. First, it's Ram on the line from Laguna Hills, California. Hi, Ram.
Hi, how are you doing?
We're great. Welcome. What's up?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I've been listening to you on and off for give or take a bunch of years.
On and off for give and take. I like it. Means you've heard 5 shows now.
Take a bunch of years. I love that.
Absolutely. Ever since you used to talk about ham radio too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a ham?
Yes.
An amateur radio enthusiast.
Yeah. I'm not very active anymore, but
I got the license and I got a general license, got all the equipment, and I realized, wait a minute, I talk on the radio for a living. I don't really need to do this when I go home. But when I retire, I'm going to be very gabby, very chatty. What's your call sign?
K6LB.
Ooh, that's good. Did you pay for that? K6LB. Nice.
No, well, I paid once.
Once. A little vanity call sign. I like it.
Sorry?
I like it. Yeah. Yeah, I have a vanity call sign too. I'm not mocking you. I'm W6TWT because our podcast network is TWIT.
Oh, yeah,
TWT. I was a W2, and then I went to a meeting for work in Philadelphia when I was in Princeton. And in the same building was the federal building. Up on the very top was the FCC. So I kind of climbed up when the meeting became boring. And asked if I can take the extra.
To get a K. Yeah, nice.
So, do you have the advance? I said, no. Well, first you have to take the advance.
Oh, so you only get a K if you're advanced.
I took all of them, actually, to be honest with you. I did not have a California license. I'm sure a New York license at that point. So they said, you have a general? Nope. Says, it's okay. So I walked up, took the general, went back to the meeting, went up again, took the advance.
Your radio. That's good. I don't know if I don't feel like I could take the advance. The good news is, I wouldn't have been a ham 20 years ago because you needed to know Morse code. You no longer need to know Morse code. So,
I know.
That's a big improvement, I think.
among the things I was in was the signal core. So
you know your dits and dot and dash.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I practiced a little bit, and I figured,
good for you.
If I take them all at the same time, I will get to the 20 before I forget it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's smart. What can we do for you, Ram?
Well, you can give me the 7 digits I need for the lottery in California, but I guess that's...
Hey, if I knew, would I tell you?
Yeah, I don't know. You can go and get the numbers and just give me 5%.
Okay. As soon as they tell me, I'll let you know.
Here's the question. I'm looking for a program, software. It can be free or it can be some reasonable amount to go through the computer and clean out the junk. I had at one time, I forget the name of it, and it was quite effective.
So are you Windows or Mac?
Windows. Okay. Then I had System Mechanic, which marginally works okay.
Yeah, some people swear by C Cleaner. Well, actually, I guess it's C Cleaner. Yeah.
I have that too.
I'll tell you the truth. My opinion on these is if it's not going to do much. It'll delete, temp files, cache files, stuff like that. But it can't be too aggressive because it's easy enough to break Windows. So most of these don't do anything, I think, spectacular. I mean, CCleaner claims, it's going to protect your privacy, make your computer faster, more secure. I guess. I don't know. Micah, you just did a podcast on your Hands-on Mac about something for the Mac.
Yeah, it's called Clean My Mac, and I wish... MacPaul actually made Clean My PC, a PC version of this, but they don't develop it any longer.
Yeah.
So
does Clean My Mac do more than, say, CCleaner? I mean, does it do some stuff?
Yeah, it does quite a bit. That's why I end up recommending it, because it can also help you uninstall programs entirely rather than just deleting the app file. It can help you run maintenance scripts and clear out the local cache. I mean, it does the cache stuff, but it does a lot more than that, and that's why I like it, because it's an all-purpose kind of cleaning and refreshing.
You could use Hillary Clinton's favorite hard drive cleaner, BleachBit. In fact, somebody in the chat room is saying they use it and like it. BleachBit is for Windows or for Linux, bleachbit.org, and it is free because it's open source. I like the idea. I think it's open source. I like the idea that it's open source because then you can kind of know what it's doing. Maybe not you, but people are looking at it closely. So I guess if you want to try one that's free, I'm looking at the user interface, and I like it that it really tells you ahead of time, look, here's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And you can say, yeah, you better not delete my registry. I think I want to keep that.
Kind of need
that. So you can kind of vet it, preview it before it does anything. And then if you like it, you can, uncheck boxes you don't want it to delete. And if you like it, it'll delete those. This seems like a good solution. This is open source, free. I can't imagine it does any less than the paid closed source versions. And I do like it that you can see what it's doing ahead of time. Bleachbit.org. I don't actually do any of this. What I usually do if I, feel like things are getting sluggish, which they do. You use Windows for 3 or 4 years, it's definitely getting bit rot, starting to get more and more sluggish. I like to start over. Mm-hmm. I think the same with a phone, the same with a Mac. It's a little more aggressive. But the idea of wiping the drive, reinstalling the operating system and the apps, and then that gives you an opportunity to not install a lot of the apps. That's one of the reasons things get slow, is over years you've installed hundreds of apps you don't even use. So if you do, I think this is my favorite way to do this, wipe the drive, reinstall the latest version of the operating system. That way you don't have previous bits of old operating systems lying around. And then very judiciously reinstall your apps. And the reason I think that's important, not merely because it uses up disk space to install an app that you don't use, but everything you install on any computer or phone, everything adds the potential for security, privacy, and just reliability problems. So the less you install, the better, always. So I think it's a great kind of disciplined, it's spring cleaning, right? In the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wipe it and start over. To me, that's going to be your best bet. On an iPhone, for instance, it's the only way to get rid of all those extra, what do they call that?
Yeah, the other files. Yeah.
Other files, which no one knows what they are. You really have to reinstall the iPhone to see the difference. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Ram. We'll get you next, Herb. And, of course, coming up about half an hour from now, Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, and his Gizmo of the Week. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you answer the next one.
I was able to answer that Mac one with no problem.
Yeah, you were good on that. And I didn't know if you knew about some of the other things, but I should just let you do it. I am going to go dance. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I sometimes get it wrong. I said Chicago. Does anybody know what time it is? It was Saturday afternoon in the park. I said Blood, Sweat, and Tears, What Goes Round, and it was some others. So, Spinning Wheel. Actually, that's the name of the song, Spinning Wheel. All right. You still haven't played that for me, Professor.
Yeah, where is that song?
Oops, sorry, I forgot.
She forgot.
It's okay.
8888, ask Leo. Don't you know you're our personal jukebox? Oh. Herb, finally. I'm sorry, Herb. We apologize. Rancho Santa Fe, Leo Laporte, Micah Sargent, your tech guys.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I've got a Epson 5-color printer that is starting to get tired and complaining. And
what is it saying? Oi!
I've been at this.
I can't print anymore.
Yeah, well,
it's French.
It objects to two-sided printing. And,
oh, wow.
Is this two-sided printing?
Right, don't do that. You're crazy. So you want a new one, or what's the deal?
Well, a replacement. And my question to you is, have you done any research or know anything about the difference in a 3-color or a 5-color printer as far as what you see when you print out a picture?
Well, 5's 2 more colors. I like 5-color. If you're doing photo printing, you need 5-color. If you're just doing business color, 3's plenty.
Okay, well, that answers my question. I'd like to get the one with the eco tanks or whatever they call them.
Yeah, the eco tanks are great.
Yeah, except they don't do a 5-color.
Yeah, that would be 5 tanks. Are you sure? Because Epson was famous for their photo printing. I didn't realize they only did 3-color. Huh.
Well, they have the old cartridge 5-color printer. You can still get that. It's quite a bit more expensive.
Well, because it's basically a photo printer. Yeah, they do have the Epson Expression Premium. Mm-hmm. That should tell you something. Premium.
Premium, as in big bucks.
As in, it's gonna. You don't ask how much, because it's over $1,000. So yeah, 3 is fine for everything but photo printing.
Yeah. Okay. Can I do another quick question?
Yes.
I have a iMac 2015 model, and it won't take the upgraded program operating system. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if I should keep the iMac, and will it plug into a mini Mac? Will the screen plug in, or the monitor plug into a mini Mac?
So you're asking if you can use your 2015 iMac as a display for a new Mac Mini, correct?
Oh, yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me check about the 2015 iMac.
So unfortunately, Apple used to have this thing called target display mode, where you could put the iMac into a mode where it would just see that you had a other computer hooked up to it. I don't think the 2015s. I think they discontinued it, which is really dumb, because here you have this beautiful display.
It's a really fascinating thing. It's, of course, on the end you go, well, I don't care that that's the case. But essentially, when Apple made these 2015 iMacs and later, in order to push the display that they had to create this special custom system that did all of the video graphics for the left side and right side of the screen independently and made it all one display.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so if you wanted to be able to do target display mode, you would have to plug in 2 Thunderbolt cables to be able to make that work. So they that's unwieldy, so we're just not going to allow it.
That's really rude.
Yeah.
Rude. It's wooed. Now, there is a way to install the latest Mac OS on that older Mac. It's not a approved method, but there is a little driver that you can install. And people use it, say it works just fine. So I've never used it. I'm kind of a little superstitious about something like that. It's a third-party driver that lets you install newer Mac OSs on unsupported Macs, older Macs. So if what you really care about is getting Ventura on there or Catalina or one of the newer ones, you can.
Will non-Apple programs
with a third-party non-Apple program, exactly. Yeah.
No, but will they work on?
Yeah, the people who do it. Again, I've never had the nerve to, but the people who use it say it's perfectly fine. I think what happens is Apple's setting an artificial switch, saying, "Well, we really don't want to support a 2015 iMac with the latest Mac OS, so we're not going to." And of course, you'll be losing, you'll be losing Apple's support. I mean, you can't call them and say, "Hey, I'm having trouble with Ventura." Right.
What's the name of that?
I'm trying to find it. I can't remember off the top. You remember, Mike?
I can't. I know what you're talking about, but I also can't remember.
I'll find it for you. You can put Monterey on older Macs.
Open Core Legacy
Patcher? That's it, Open Core.
Thank you, Doug M. in the chat.
Thank you. Open Core Legacy Patcher. It's on GitHub. Again, not supported by Apple, but I'm not willing to not recommend it because I see so many people using it and very happily using it with Monterey that I think it's fine. So if what your issue is, well, I want to get the latest Mac OS on there. I know, are they still doing security updates for a 7-year-old?
I don't know if it goes back that far.
See, this would be a way to get the security updates as well. So
Which is really what I'm
that's the main thing, yeah. We'll put a link in the show notes, techguylabs.com. It's from a GitHub page, Dortania, DORTANIA.github.io. It's just if you Google Open Core Legacy Patcher, you'll see you'll get Apple's over-the-air updates. Once you install it, and it just tricks. I think it just tricks Mac OS to see a more recent Macintosh. It just says, no, I'm a 2019 iMac. I really am.
Trust
me. And Apple goes, oh, well, fine, okay.
Not 3 kids in a suit and in a jacket.
Yeah.
Sitting on each other's shoulders.
The Open Core Legacy
Patcher. Because you're patching it. And I have yet to see anybody complain about it. So I think,
I've not used it myself personally.
We haven't used it. But we're spoiled. We always get the new Macs.
That's true.
So we don't.
I don't want to completely go, this is fantastic. We can only speak from anecdotal evidence.
Dortania says, it'll give you even features like sidecar, night shift, universal control, stuff that
I would have used this back in the day.
Yeah.
Before I got the new
Yeah, nothing wrong. I mean, this is very frustrating because a 2015 iMac is not really out of date, frankly.
It runs beautifully.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine Mac. And you got that great display. So it's a little frustrating to say, well, I got to trash it because I can't get the latest operating system. Hey, I appreciate the call, Mac, Leo Laporte, Herb, Leo Laporte, Mike Sargent, Mike us.
Us.
I'm not good with names.
You're tech guys.
Coming back after this.
Leon Laporte.
Freddie.
Mickey Sarjo.
I don't know. Terrible with names. They took a lot of care, blood, sweat, and tears in their recording. And I remember in the early days of high fidelity, I guess it's still today, you could buy extra special vinyl, right? Like 130-gram vinyl. And they put out a version of this album in that high-quality vinyl. And I think it was my first audiophile purchase ever.
Wow.
And it didn't sound any different.
So I was going to ask, are the grooves deeper? Like what's the
vinyl's
alleged
heavier.
change? So if the vinyl's heavier, what does that mean? More detail in the grooves?
I don't know.
Was it all just
it's just better.
Kind of like
better.
audiophile
it's just
stuff?
Better.
Yeah, it sounds like an audiophile thing to say. It's just better, man. I don't know. It just is.
Do you have a turntable?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you might.
Yeah.
You seem like the kind of twee millennial that might have a turntable.
It's because it has to do with my great grandpa.
That's different.
Huge.
Oh, that's very different. Are they 78s?
Whatever this one is. Yeah, 44s. Yeah, right. 44 is a small.
No.
44 the big one.
45s. 45 are the little ones. 45. And 33 1/3 are the big ones.
Okay.
And then in the really old times, and when you said great-grandfather, I realized you're so young, your great-grandfather's my age. But in the really old times, they had 78s. They had spin really fast, and they were shellacked. They were
okay. Then it was
they were bizarre.
It was that standard size. But yeah, I remember going over to his house, and I would. He had a bunch of blank tapes, and so I would pick different albums out and put them onto the tape, put songs from the albums onto the tapes.
And then what'd you do with the tapes?
I played them at home because I had a little
tape recorder. Oh,
yeah.
You were an early music pirate.
Taper. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, before Napster. Now we go to Mark in Los Angeles. Our next call, 8888 Ask Leo. Hello, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
Yeah, Leo and Micah. Welcome.
Yeah. Okay, I have two questions. I might forget the other one, but anyway. The Motorola, I have an older series, the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Do they work off liquid batteries? Because it's weird.
Liquid? No. You have a Moto G5 phone?
A bacterial battery.
Is it a phone?
Yeah. What
liquid should be coming out of that phone.
No, not liquid coming out. It's like a compressed... like a pregnant,
Is it swelling?
Yes.
Yes, that is very dangerous. And eventually, if liquid does come out, that is highly toxic. So yes, anytime a battery swells, these are lithium-ion batteries. And as they get older, or sometimes if they are overcharged, or if they're poorly manufactured, it can happen to anyone. It happened to Apple. It has happened to many companies. They start to swell. The reason that's problematic is they're in a very tight case, and as they swell, if and this is why, by the way, Samsung had to recall all their, what was it, the Galaxy Note 4? I can't remember.
It's been so long.
Exploding phone.
Yeah.
They had to recall them because they had they wanted a bigger battery, but they didn't make the case bigger, so it was too tight, and if it expands too much, it can explode, burst into flame.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that's because when the lithium ion is exposed to oxygen, it actually starts burning and can release chemicals that are very caustic. So you definitely want to get that out of your house. If you call the company, if you bought it from a major carrier at a carrier store and called them, most of the time they would say, "Oh my gosh, bring it in. We'll replace it for free." So the G5's pretty old, but it's not so old that they might, that's 5 years old now. They might not, because they don't want they don't want to cause a fire.
Yeah, I have two of them, and one of them did it, and one of them didn't.
Yeah, and most phones don't do it. But if one does, don't keep using it and don't keep charging it. That's when you get in trouble. It's time to, put it in a metal box. So if it does, what'll happen is they get hot. Then they burst their packaging, the caustic liquid comes out, and the lithium ion is exposed to oxygen, and it starts to burn. And they're very hard to put out, by the way. It was the Note 8 when Samsung did the recall. I had a Note 8. I almost didn't want to give it up. I loved it. When they did the recall, they sent us all special boxes. And on the side it said, do not to go in the air. And they had special handling on this stuff because it was, so dangerous. So, a box is Burke, our expert in lithium ion. He's the guy who fixes stuff around here. One of our engineers says, get sand, a box of sand. Actually, Apple.
I was going to say Apple says to do that. Yeah, that's one of the things they recommend having nearby when you are doing a battery replacement is a little container of sand that you put the battery down inside of to help snuff out the flames.
Yeah. My Note 8 never did explode. Oh, wait a minute. There was Note 7 that exploded. Not the 8. Sorry about that. My 7 never did explode. But I certainly took him up on the offer to take it back because I didn't want to take that chance. It turns out maybe it wasn't quite as dangerous, but you just don't want it to ever happen. And if it does, it's, it could burn a house down. Do you remember when those hoverboards were popular?
Oh my goodness. And then they'd catch on fire. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were made in China, all made in China by, in some cases, less than honorable companies. And there were many fires from these hoverboards. In fact, one of our friends worked at our accountancy. She was our accountant, had a hoverboard just sitting in the hallway, burst into flames, caused significant tens of thousands of dollars in damage. They had yeah. And that was here in Petaluma. So, yeah, we had a hoverboard. We immediately divested ourselves of that. So this was 2016. At first, Samsung said, well, and then they said, no, we're going to do a recall. It came out August 19th, the Note 7, and they recalled it a month later. They were slow, but they eventually, on the 2nd of October, they said, you know what? They had an informal recall, and then the formal recall was a couple of weeks later. And that's when I gave it up. I can't remember, one of our hosts' parents wouldn't. She said, no, we love this phone. And I had to say, no, you must. You
have to.
It's just not worth it. And I think that after a lot of investigations, it seemed to be that the problem was they tried to put too much battery in too tight a case. And so even the slightest expansion of the battery, if there's no room for it to expand, can cause puncture of the enclosure and then eventually fire. And, an explosion is merely rapid oxidation, a very fast fire. Mm-hmm. So that's too bad, because it was a very nice camera. I now have a Note in front of me. So the Note 7, that was what did we say, 2016? Here we are 6 years later. This is a Note 22. I think they wanted to leave the whole single-digit thing well behind them, so nobody would remember that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. So yes, Mac, if you have that, get it. If call a manufacturer, call the person who sold it to you, see if they'll take it back, see if they'll trade it in, which would be nice. But don't play with it and don't charge it. And if you have a box of sand, put it in there. The problem with burning lithium ion is it makes its own oxygen. So this is why electric car fires are so such a problem for local fire departments, because they don't, you can't smother it.
Right. Oof.
It'll just keep burning. And the factories that recycle these lithium ion batteries have frequent fires. It's a frequent problem. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer and our GizWiz, he has been out and about seeking crazy gadgets. He has one for us. The GizWiz coming up in just a bit. Yeah, the shrimp's getting to me.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. We're actually going to a very fancy restaurant tonight.
Where are you headed?
Table Culture Provisions, the best restaurant in Petaluma. Have you been there yet? Oh, so good. So good. We're going with Retcon 5 and his wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Should be a lot of fun. Turn the beat around. And what will you see right behind you? Dick DeBartolo, Disco Dick, Mad's maddest writer, and our gizmo wizard. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I just heard that menu. Is that cafeteria in the brick house?
It's actually an automat. You put in a couple of quarters.
Great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Is the automat gone? Is the
right. Yes.
The automat's gone. Oh.
I was so annoyed because one of the leaders, like Mr. Horn or Mr. Hart, had said, "Don't worry, New Yorkers, there will always be an automat," and then there wasn't.
Horn and Hardart. That's right. Horn and Hardart. That was the automat, and the whole idea was, you didn't see the kitchen. They were behind the wall, and they would put food in little holes, and then you'd put money in the slot and open the door and take your food out.
The little,
Yeah. I loved that.
So did I.
Now we have something sort of like that here. It's called a sushi boat. Your little river goes by you with little boats, and on the boats are sushi. And when you take it, you save your plate, and they charge you by the plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Sushi
my
boats.
God, okay.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Mr. Dickie D joins us not to talk about strange foods, but to, in fact, enlighten us as to a gizmo or a gadget he has seen recently.
All right, so this you're going to like. You're probably not going to buy it, but you're going to like it. Okay, so yesterday...
Don't be so
was an
sure.
event-
I buy everything. You tell me.
It would be funny if you bought
Yesterday
this.
was an event called Day of Play about new toys. And the reason I know you're going to like it, because 1 year ago, they introduced bumper cars for kids.
I remember that,
you said
actually.
You said this is going to be a big seller. Well, it made hottest 10 toys of 2021. So I went by and I said, the founder or the CEO or a bigwig there, John, I said, so John, what do you have this year? And he said, remember last year where people were trying to get in the little kid car?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. He said, well, we decided we would build an adult version.
Okay, we're buying this for the studio.
Oh my God. Yeah, I put a little video of it and me in it. And okay, so it has a weight limit of 200 pounds.
Okay.
Okay. And they call it the XL because they found when they were testing it out that 2 kids could fit in it, and they love it because each kid can have a joystick. The adult uses both joysticks as one, but the kids can control each one with their own joystick. So it's a 200-pound limit. It has LED lights in the bottom that shine down on the floor.
This is so cool. Could you drive this around town?
No. Well, you know what? Maybe. No, I tell you.
Instead of my Zappy scooter, I think I'm going to get a bumper car.
I think the limit would be battery. I said, John, on a full charge, he said, on a full charge, it's 25 minutes. He said, but 25 minutes, a bumper car.
It's more than enough.
Enough for pretty much anybody. And of course, you could just go buy yourself a second battery. This guy, he works for the company, and we were trying to hit each other head on, which we did.
Do you get a seatbelt? I mean, it looks like
yes,
so
you get a
much fun.
seatbelt.
Okay.
As you can see,
because I can see you.
Our seatbelts are hanging out.
You're
the
not
side.
using your seatbelt. Yeah.
No, we're not using our seatbelt.
No helmets, no seatbelts. But boy, this does look like so much fun.
They're going to be $299, and they'll be. John said they'll be available November 1st at Walmart.
Wow.
And the company's Flybar. Do you remember? I think the
pogo stick.
Yes. Didn't you buy one for you and one for your son?
One for my son.
And at the time,
yes.
They go like 15 feet in
they
the
would
air.
go really high. These pogo sticks were crazy.
Yes.
Do they still make them?
So they still make pogo. They still make pogo sticks, but they have gotten big into the bumper cars.
So basically, they make toys for kids, death-defying toys for kids. For like, if you don't mind if your kid goes flying over the fence, this is for you. That kind of thing. Wow.
Wow, $190 for a pogo stick.
Well, that's the Super Pogo, too. That's just that ain't any old pogo stick. That's the one you can literally go flying over the fence.
No, I think they have a new foam pogo stick for like $15 or something for tots.
Pogo. Good. Yeah, start them
for
young.
balance, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they're refreshing the bumper cars for kids. One model has the spoiler in the back and a racing flag. I think they're going to do really well. A lot of attention at the
next time you see him, tell him to bring back chemistry sets with plutonium, radium, gunpowder, all that stuff. Because I think we need more kids' toys that, just honor the kid.
More toxic kids.
Toxic kids' toys.
Yeah, right. Well, just get a Note 7. Isn't that?
Very good. Dickie D.
So quick.
As you need.
Yeah. Giz, the website, gizwiz.biz, gizwiz.biz. If you click the blue button that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy, you'll find a link to this bumper car. It's cool. But you can also see all the things he's mentioned in the past. You can see all the stuff he shows on ABC's World News Now. There's a button for that. And, of course, there's a button for the What the heck is it contest? I'm clicking it right now because I want to see what it is. This is the new September, October. Boy, I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. What do you think that is? It looks like a time machine, maybe.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah. I was thinking an extra handle for your bumper car, sort of like slot it in.
So here's why you care.
That's good.
There
That's
are
good.
18 autographed copies of Mad Magazine available. 6 for the correct answer, up to 12 for the funniest wrong answer. Dick is the judge of this, will be the judge of this. All you have to do is go to gizwiz.biz and click the What the Heck Is It button. And you have till Halloween, to the end of the month.
Yeah, and you're playing for the December issue of Mad, which is 70% new material.
What? Are they crazy?
It marks Mad's 70th year publishing.
Wow.
Okay, so I have some stuff in there. I have pictures of Bill Gaines.
Did they go to the old
people have never seen
old guys and say, "Give us something new"?
Yes, they went to the core people.
And
like
usual
I got 3
cast
pages,
of
and
idiots?
yes, exactly.
That's great. That's what they called themselves. I didn't make that up. Yeah.
No. Usual gang. That we're proud to be the usual gang of idiots.
That's a badge of honor. How many of the usual gang of idiots are still alive?
Boy, I would say maybe a dozen.
I think it actually makes you live longer to have been in that group because they're all.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Al Jaffe just turned 101.
101.
Yeah. And when I spoke to him, he said, Dick, if you hear of anything work-wise, he said, I don't want to do any more mad stuff. But if you hear of anything different, I'm going, Al, God bless you.
You're not joking. Did he?
No, I'm not.
He didn't do a fold-in for this new
No,
December
he
issue.
didn't. I think they did like his best fold-ins from the past 70 years.
Oh, man. Wow. He's a legend. He's a legend.
Absolutely.
As are you, Dick DiBartolo. It's always such an honor to work with you. Gizwiz.biz. Did you sell out all of the good days in Mad?
Yeah, I did. Yes, thanks to you. Mainly thanks to you. I think I had 4 left, and thanks to that, you plugging it, they're gone.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for people who missed out.
No, that's good.
I warned you. They were
You
down,
did. You warned.
Down to the bottom of the barrel, so to speak. Thank you, Dickie D.
Okay, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Dick's got a great podcast, too, at gizwiz.tv. Well, Micah, it's time to call it a day for yet another thrilling and gripping edition of the Tech Duo. Tech Guy Duo.
Yes, I've got to get off to an appointment in Santa Rosa to pick up my Apple Watch Series 8.
Oh, how exciting.
Oh, it's
exciting.
hardly an upgrade. But.
Next week, I will have the Ultra.
Yes, you will.
The watch for people who like to do dangerous things. Leo Laporte, Micah Sargent, have a great Geek Week. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
So you didn't feel like you needed the Ultra. We would have bought it for you.
See, I didn't. I was.
You didn't want us. You didn't want it. You see, this is why we would get it for you, because you're thoughtful. Anybody else would say, "Yeah, I'll take 2 of each." But no, Mike is careful with our money.
I do try to be.
We appreciate that. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts. For this show, we talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on. And of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.